if you hear background noise, I'm sorry. Here we go. We are on week 3. And so this week we were reading chapter 4 through 7. So 4, 5, 6, and 7. And I'm going to give you homework at the beginning and at the end, hopefully so we can stay on the same page, to make it so it's not a funky chapter and so it doesn't feel weird. This week we will be reading one more chapter. So we will be reading chapters 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12. So you'll have 5 chapters to break down throughout the week. However, these are really sharp chapters. Like, I found myself wanting to read 2 chapters like in a sitting. So I'm going to kind of give you a quick breakdown, and then we'll just jump in, and if somebody has something that you want to add to something I'm saying, maybe more to keep it going, let's go through it chapter by chapter, because I think that was working really well, and kind of go from there. So last week we were just talking about getting wrapped up in our own heads and needing to just shut up and do it. And this week, the first quote on page 41 is, "Wanting to be someone else is a waste of the person that you are." And I love that. And it was kind of cool. My sister graduated on Saturday, and I was trying to think about like what to give her. And the morning that I woke up of her graduation, the chapter that I read was talking about how some people try so hard. Like if we are, let me find that. It's like, so we're, in a sense, you're so unsatisfied or you're so disapproving of yourself that you're constantly looking for other people to get validation. She kind of talks about it on page 42, but where you're constantly trying to get validation from other people. So instead of being that person and doing that, start doing things that you can validate, where you know for yourself that you're validating yourself, because otherwise you're going to be a person that validation is never enough. Like, you're going to have to keep looking, and like you keep trying and you keep trying and you keep trying, and you're going to achieve, and nothing's ever good enough. And I just started crying because that is my sister 100%. So that was really easy. I went and bought her the book. It's like, you're gonna love me. You're gonna hate me. And she did such a great job. Like, she got the highest honors in everything that she could get in all of her classes. And it's like, it's not good enough still. You know, like she's like, but did that really make mom and dad proud? No, they didn't even show up to my graduation. Okay, well, what do I need to do next? You know, it's like, to me, that's heartbreaking. And I also realized how she's talking about in here how your stories from your families define you and how you let them, like, you don't know anything else. But I was kind of struggling with, I guess, I didn't know what time she actually walked. I thought she was walking at 8:30 in the morning, and I was like, okay, I can't be there by 8:30. So that's out. Well, so it was a good thing we were texting, because she's like, no, actually it's 12. And I was like, okay, well, and she's asked if I was coming to her walking or if I was just coming to the party later. And I was like, okay, well, let me see what I can do. But I knew I could be there by 12. So I just hustled, got everything ready to get there by then. And in just thinking, like, this is important to her. This would be the equivalent of us getting a car. This is huge to her. If I can't relate to her when something is this big in her life, she never will put effort into relating to me or other people. So just kind of seeing like where there's a barrier and us needing to break it. If you see it, you can break it. So making yourself break it and not letting yourself, if you're aware of it, you cannot keep going the way you are. So I show up and had time to go drop my puppy off and was like, well, I don't know when she actually walks. So I was like, okay, law of attraction. I'm finding a spot right up front under a tree so I can roll all the windows down. Totally happened. Like right up front under a tree. Walk into her graduation. They hadn't started yet. She's one of the first people to walk. She walks, and I realized, like, when I'm screaming, I was one of very, very few people screaming for her. And I was just like, that's really sad. So later, come to find out, there was 3 of us from our family that showed up. Like, I cried for her. I was so frustrated because most of my family lives half an hour away. Like, the family that doesn't live right around there. Okay, I get it. Like, they live in a completely different state. But I'm starting to realize, like, our family does not know how to show appreciation or how to show support in what you're doing. They have no idea what it looks like. And I'm learning it's because they didn't have it. So same thing. We're aware of it. We don't have to stay that way. But here's what's weird. Different people's attitudes, like we all have attitudes, you know, that kind of match things. And the last few years, because such differences in our attitudes, we haven't really gotten along. And it was kind of like it was all about her. And watching, because I took the step to change it, she had a completely different attitude all weekend. Like, we've been texting over dumb things that we would normally text over and haven't. And it's really cool. So think about when you're reading this and you don't want to, or you're doing something to grow yourself and you don't want to, don't just stop at you. Think about all the people that it's going to make you aware of that you can help, or that it can change the dynamic of a relationship. Like, personal growth does not end with us. So that's my little soapbox to start off with. But it's really cool. Like, it'll be awesome to see what all things come from that. And she opened it in front of everybody, which I was not expecting. I thought she would just open it at home, and she pulls out this book and she's like, by then my whole family's there. And they're like, what is it? She's like, you're a badass. I'm like, awesome. Yep, that's me. Thanks, Laura. But it was kind of cool. So going into like being you, where she's talking about like, you might not know what you want, but you just have to get validation from yourself. You have to trust yourself, and you have to feel what's right to you right now. And if you're not sure what to do, just keep doing the next thing that feels right. And I like that, because it's talking about how, like, you don't have a whole plan laid out. You're not going to know from the very beginning, like, what you're doing and where you're going. It's going to be one little thing at a time. So does anybody have anything they want to add to this?
Yeah, just a second. I'll tell you what my 2 cents about it all. That's the Big Snooze chapter, right? Yeah, it is. I thought that I think you kind of mentioned it, how much energy we put in to destroy what that we're not good enough, or we're not, I don't even know where it is. So anyway, that was just really, really interesting, because if we take it and we turn it the other way, and where she was saying it takes just as much energy to imagine that you can do something totally great as it does to imagine that you really suck at it, you know. And so then okay, that was a paraphrase, but it's the same, you know. And so anyhow, so I thought that was really good too. Just, yeah.
On page 43 is kind of where she's talking about too. The first thing that you have to deal with is when you decide to wake up to make a massive change, you're going to automatically get head-on approval or disapproval from everybody around you, especially the people that are closest to you. And that's where most people quit. So, like, knowing that this isn't abnormal, everybody does it. And I talked, like, she goes on 44, just stop talking around people that are going to bring you down. Instead, seek out the people who are totally kicking butt and who are lifting their foot to do something different, or people that you know that are going to be supportive. Like, find those people. And that's can be hard, but it's extremely true. Like, I was writing Laura's card and I couldn't stop crying. And a lot of it was just being there, watching what happened, and then looking back at the last 11 years of my life going, nope, this has pretty much happened to me every year for 11 years. Like, something that's important to me, no one shows up for. Like, they don't think that it's important, which is fine, because they aren't awake to it. And, like, I don't know, it kind of let me tell her, and if she got it or not, I have no idea, but it opened the door for me to tell her this is what I've been working for. Like, I know how you feel, and I've felt this way, and like, keep going. Don't quit because you're tired of people not approving or not encouraging you. But like, I couldn't even stop crying. Somebody called me and so I'm talking to her, and I just started crying. She's like, "What are you doing?" I'm like, "Running a car for my sister." She just starts laughing. She's like, "Are you okay?" "No, I sound okay." It's like, she goes on 45 where she's talking about like, you're detoxing. You have to think of it like you're detoxing from drugs or alcohol, where you literally are waking up every day being like, what the hell am I doing? Why am I doing this? It was so much easier doing drugs and alcohol, when honestly it's not. But your body has to, like, you're going through that hard of a detox, which is really cool to put it in that perspective, because in that perspective, I think it's easier to know that there's an end. You know, like like a 7-day cleanse, like explain it to someone like a 7-day cleanse. Like, this is going to suck, but as you do it, you're there, it's going to come to an end. You only don't have to eat cheese for 7 days. And then once you're finished, like, you'll love it, and it'll be awesome. Do you have anything that people want to add to that?
I do.
Go for it.
But on page 45, she says, when you decide to rewire these beliefs, go for what's truly in your heart and do a massive overhaul on yourself and your world. And you're basically murdering the big snooze. But it's just really to go for what's in our heart. You know, that you have to be so brave to go for what's really in your heart. You know, what's really in your heart, I think it always beats within us, but it's something that we always try to keep on mute as well. But just taking it off the mute button and really letting it be part of who you really are, and share with the world what that really is, what that noise really is.
You're gonna tag on that for 2 seconds, because I had highlighted this and just read it again. But the big on page 45 where she has, where she's got these quotes that stand out.
Yeah.
The one there says, "When taking great leaps of faith, life often turns to shit before shinola."
Yeah.
Look at it and know, like, the same thing. Like, it's gonna get really hard before it gets easy. And if you have not subscribed to Thomas Tidland's message posts, I just posted one in our nation page, and he does a video. Click on the right side and subscribe to his posts. He has awesome insight, and I'm trying to figure out which company he's in, because when he and Donna got married, he is the highest income earner in his company, and I'm trying to figure out which company it is. But like, the post he did this morning, like, he trains a lot with Donna, and the post he did this morning was talking about, if you aren't willing to move your feet, like, I don't remember exactly the wording for it. I'll have to go find it here. But pretty much, like, you can't keep asking God for the answers for things if you're not ever going to pick up your feet. Like, that's not how this works. But go find it, because he's talking about the same thing like that. And yeah, it's like, it's people quit in the struggle phase. He was explaining, like, the 3 different phases of working, and one of them being, so you get started, you're going to take action, the next one's the struggle, and then the next one's the reward. And people always quit in the struggle because they don't feel like the reward's ever coming, so they quit too soon. And pretty much to not be a person that doesn't quit too soon, because you're usually not very far from the reward when we quit. Sorry, side note. Dan or Misty, you have anything you want to add?
Nope, not on that chapter.
Oh, here's something cool. 47. I'm going to talk about this because this happens and comes up with almost every new consultant ever, okay? So take note. For all of you that are listening to the recording, know that this is going to be you too. So she's talking about how when things get really, really hard, when you're doing what you want to do, and it feels like just opposition. She gives a story of this lady who literally started a shop, opened up a bakery shop, and it burned to the ground. Like, she put so much money into it and it completely burned to the ground. So instead of turning around and being like, well, I'm not supposed to make cupcakes, she started raising money, rebuilt it. No, it wasn't cupcakes. It was, or she did one on cupcakes too, but this one was talking about a musician. So she put all of her life savings into a sound studio and got all the equipment and everything. It burned to the ground. She wanted to walk away, but instead of walking away, she turned around, raised the money to do it again, and now records music with some of the highest musicians, because she didn't, like, that would have been when we would quit, right? Like, something we burn to the ground, or it burns to the ground for us. She's talking about, like, growth ain't for weenies, but there's nowhere near as painful as living the life that you're living right now if you are not really going for it. So if you have to wake up every day with the feeling that you're not going to go for it, nothing is worse than that feeling. So growth, yes, it can be hard. I was thinking about this the other day as I was driving home, thinking about everything that I've gone through with my family, watching my sister, all the stuff, and I'm driving home and I was just like, man, sometimes life sucks. Like, there's so many things in life that are just hard. But the flip side, if somebody asked me, like, does it suck that I did what I did and it's taken me this long to get where I've gone? Yeah, in some senses. But the flip side would be if I had to give back the last 11 years to live life knowing that I wasn't ever really going to go where I wanted to go or get where I wanted to get, would I do it? I couldn't do it. But I mean, there was times that you're sitting on the floor crying, being like, why did I do this? This is just the stupidest thing ever. Like, make it disappear. Pour gasoline on my consultant starter kit and light it on fire. Like, but you don't, it doesn't. Like, you could take even the last 2 years, like, super hard things for my team breakdown, or like people quitting, or people walking away, people joining other businesses, all these things. That would be, in the last year, a lot of really crappy stuff happened. But if you flip it, it's like, I still made enough money to pay all my bills. I still was blessed through all of that. Could I just give it away? No. It sucked, but it's helping me for something that's coming. I don't know what that is, but it's probably helping, because everybody's going to have someone that's really important in their business that quits. And learning that it's not about you. It is, like, it's about them. Let it be about them, and keep finding other people. Just keep bringing other people in. Worry about your own business. And when I was talking to Deanna Herron, she was saying that, like, a lot of times we get focused where people's teams fall apart. We get focused on ourselves in our team, and we start digging really deep, and we're like worrying about all these other people's, and we're going to build really deep down. And then when somebody quits, like, it's like our entire organization falls apart. But that only happens because we dug so deep down that we're like trying to stabilize. And I was telling her kind of what was going on, where we're coming back from. And she's like, that's not a bad thing that you did, but can you see where you should have balanced the time you put into this deep leg versus what you did over here for yourself? And most of us, we start, like, we get a new consultant and we're just going to pour everything we have into them. No, they don't need you to breathe life into their business. They need you to keep working yours, and they're going to follow you. And, like, having her help with that was kind of cool. Okay, so chapter 5, self-perception is a zoo. The one thing that I loved out of this was try seeing yourself through the eyes of someone who admires you. When you think you are the worst at something, you suck the baddest, like, stop and look around at who is watching you and thinks that you're awesome. And why are we not looking at ourselves the way that they look at us? Whether it's the clothing you're wearing, your hairstyle, the whatever, like the effort you're putting in, the fact that you took the time to get up and work out this morning, the fact that you slept in, like all that, like somebody is watching thinking that that is awesome and that they want to be like you. And it's not even just from highlight reels. It's just from, like, look at yourself through the eyes of somebody that cares about you, that doesn't want to inflict pain on you, that wants literally the best for you. What would they say about you, and how would they share it with you? Like, what would their pep talk to you be? That should be our own pep talk. Like, I liked page 50 so much, the whole thing is highlighted.
I know, me too. It's not the whole thing, but a lot of it, for sure.
It's like all of it is underlined.
I like that paragraph that starts with "You are loved massively, ferociously, unconditionally," in the middle of the page.
Mm-hmm. And every time she talks about the universe, she's talking about God. So replace that. God is totally freaking out about how awesome you are. It's got you wrapped in a warm gorilla hug of adoration. He wants to give you everything that you desire. He wants you to be happy, and he wants you to see what he sees in you. Like, if you turn that and you're thinking about that, I don't know how people can't believe in God. But for people that are going to watch this that do not believe in God, like, you feel like all these things that are trying to love you and love on you, if we lived that way, we would live differently.
Absolutely. Because it takes all the fear of everything out. So when there's perfect love, then perfect love, just like the scriptures say, it casts out fear. And so when you can really let that trample your mind and let it get in there in every possible way, then you're unstoppable. Mm-hmm. You may be a martyr, but you'll be unstoppable, because it will cost you everything.
Well, and like if somebody can't take that same paragraph and tie it to God, think about the person that loves you the most. Say it could be a parent, a grandparent, a friend, whatever. Take how that person loves you and times it by 100, and that's how God wants you to see yourself. But we can't fathom that. Like, on our side, we cannot fathom that. But like,
well, because I think sometimes it's because we don't feel worthy of it. So,
because we have to read this book to tell us what a badass we are.
Right. Right. Well, and I like the one down at the bottom too that I underlined. That you are the only you there is and ever will be. Do not deny the world its one and only chance to bask in your brilliance.
Mm-hmm.
Back up one sentence, and she says to shy away from who you truly are would leave the world you-less.
Yeah.
Like, what would it look like if you weren't here and what you are going to bring wasn't here? Like, everything. Okay, my sister and I are complete opposites. She absolutely loves math and graduated with honors in math. I hated math. She's driven by things that I won't ever be driven by. We are complete opposites. But if you put both of us together, we understand two very different people's perspectives. If it's only me, everybody's going to laugh. You're going to be happy whether you like it or not. If it's Laura, she's going to get into the nuts and bolts and she's going to dig down, and she has determination that I would love. Like, when it comes to working out, like, that girl, I don't know how she does it, because I look at it and I'm just like, this sucks. I don't want to be in pain. I'm done. And she's like, but I want what I'm going to be afterwards. And so learning that from her, learning to do that in everyday life, in whatever I do, it's like, okay, it sucks right now, but keep going. It sucks right now, but keep going. You're going to turn around and see your 6-pack of abs, or you're going to turn around and you're going to see an entire team that you built. You're going to turn around, like, you got to keep going. And that about her, I love. But we don't stop to think about what would the world look like if we weren't us, and if we weren't happy about what we get happy about. We don't think about that.
Right.
Oh, I just suck today. I'm not going to try this because I don't like making phone calls. I'm really not good at parties, so I'm not going to do parties. You're not good at them because you don't do them. I'm not good at yoga because I don't do yoga. If I started doing yoga, I would be good at yoga. So, like, what do you want to be good at? That's what you have to go do. And you have to do it enough that your body can get a rhythm, or your brain can get a rhythm to what you're doing so that you can be good at it. I had a side note, Sue will probably watch this video. So hi, Sue. One of my hair clients yesterday found my YouTube channel, and I was doing her hair, and she started talking about the different videos that she's watched. But it's like her insight into me and into the people on my team. She doesn't even know you, but her insight into what each person brings to the table was really cool. Just saying, like, these videos are awesome. Like, keep doing them. So for everybody who's afraid of recording, you never know who's going to see it. And you never know what you said, whose life you're going to change. So put your hair up in a messy ponytail and get over it.
On the flip side of what you were saying about Laura, and I don't know, this could just be ignorance, but it could be maturity too. I think sometimes I get to the point where it's exhausting trying to be perfect. I don't know how else to say that. Not like I'm trying to achieve perfection, but it's like some days I'm just like, I'm done. Like, I can't be this person today. For what that's worth. I don't know.
That's because that's not the person that you are. Because when we are being ourselves, it's not exhausting. It's exhausting fighting everybody, but it's not exhausting. Like, you should get energy from being who you are. You should be excited. Like, I've had people comment on, I'm always dressed too professionally. Every freaking day I get up and put my clothes on, and that goes through my head. And I just stopped because yesterday I bought a $7 tank top that has a zipper in the back, and it is a brass zipper. And I was like, well, I can't wear gold or silver with brass. Okay, I went and found my brass earrings. And this is what kind of got Sue and I talking about this. But just like our perfection, like, okay, if you don't know that you can't wear a brass zipper with silver or gold, you can't. I'm here to tell you that. Go find brass jewelry.
It's very in. Mixing metals is very, very in.
If you're mixing metals from head to toe, if you just are mixing metals from the back to the front, don't do it, okay? But later, I went and did Sue's hair, and we're talking about it, and she didn't notice, and she just starts laughing because I was telling her, like, every day when I get dressed now, that thought comes through my head. But it's so totally Satan being like, oh, who are you going to see today that thinks you're too perfect? Okay, I don't care. I feel good. If I don't match it, I feel off. It's like your whole house isn't clean and you're trying to get something done and you can't get anything done because you can't find what you're supposed to do. I have to go clean my house.
Yeah.
Same thing. So she's laughing at me. But later, I meet somebody for a one-on-one, and we're talking about just like little things that we grow in life and stuff. And the matching metals came up. And I just started laughing, and I turned like this, and she goes, Grace, I don't know, but people do it every day. Like, it's like it doesn't even faze them. I just started laughing because it's like, if you are trained to see something, or maybe you don't focus on it because you're not aware of it. Once you're aware of it, you can't go back to who you were, right? But so say for instance, it's like wearing a print with a polka dot, with a plaid, with a stripe, all different colors, all the same outfit. You feel good. Maybe you're colorblind. Maybe you aren't aware that you can't do that. If you put that on
maybe you're
me,
a toddler.
I will have the crappiest day you can ever imagine because nothing about it flows. Nothing. And it's like being somebody else. Nothing about it flows. It takes so much energy. It would take so much energy for me to wear an outfit like that. Like, I can't even do it for Halloween, okay?
Everything has to match in your costume. I'm the same way. Maybe it's because we're hairdressers. Who knows?
But it takes so much energy. Put the same thing or think mindset into if you did that as a person. If I am going to go be Jennifer Hess, if I'm going to go be Jennifer Peace, if I'm going to go be Nicole Creighton, if I'm going to go be whoever, I'm going to be drained constantly because I am not you. There are things that I do that if I know, and you're going to be the only person, well, not really, but you're going to know immediately when you're shying away from something that you don't want to do, that's you. When you're around other people that doesn't do that sort of stuff. Like I showed up to a birthday party dressed up. Everybody else at the birthday party's in jeans and ratty t-shirts. And I was just like, I want to go home. Bob's like, why? You would wear that to church? I'm wearing what I wear to church. I'm like, you're a boy. It's different. Like, jeans and a nice shirt isn't dresses and high heels and like hair completely curled up. Like, no, not even the same thing. And he just is smiling. Like, what, do you know what I mean? Like, that's the uncomfortable feeling you're going to feel if you are not being you. And you can't do that for very long when you get exhausted. Mm-hmm. So, like she's saying, and I don't know if we're there yet, but she's saying like where you just go do the first thing that feels right. And I think we're at it right here. Page 53, where she's talking about, it's like you're born with a big bag of money and it's enough to fund all of your dreams. But instead of following your instincts and your hearts, you invest in what other people believe you should invest in. So while you're investing in that, you buy into all these things that aren't true for yourselves and your fortune dwindles away. Like that's the same thing as your energy. So until you reconnect with who you truly are and start investing in what's for you, you're always going to be empty. And on 54, we invest everything we've got in believing that we're not good enough. What if, like Jen Hess was saying, what if you turned it all and invested it all in believing you were? If you think you're lying to yourself, it's actually what you already know that's the lie. But we don't stop and think about that. And so when she gets into like the steps on page 55, the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7, 8, and 9. Like as she gets into those things, I'm just going to read you what I highlighted and you guys can let me know what you highlighted. I highlighted stuff from number 2, drowning yourself in affirmations, where she's talking about if you want to turn the ship around, you need to rewire your brain and train it to think differently. That's what affirmations do for you. So honestly, our goals is a huge affirmation. It's like saying what you're going to achieve and it's training your brain to look for that. And yes, at the beginning, you're going to feel like you're lying to yourself, but the truth is you're already living a lie. So the affirmations get you back to the truth. I like that. 57, do the things that you love. If you're the kind of, and I highlighted this because this is me, if you're the kind of person who puts everyone else's needs first, start putting yours up front. You need to be happy like you need to be full for you to flow out to other people.
I underlined on that page, it's about being proactive, about creating the life you love instead of meekly living the one you think you're stuck with.
Mm-hmm. 4 would be finding a replacement. Do not, and I just highlighted the very bottom part, do not spend your life clinging to the insulting decisions you've made about yourself. Instead, make the conscious choice to replace them with new and improved ones. So replacing already learned.
The one I underlined in that one was the most important thing is to free yourself from the drama and the conviction that your current version of yourself is the truth.
I like how we all same thing and different things jump off at us. It's kind of cool.
Yeah. I'm really bad at this one. So like I am like I should say I'm really good at saying what I shouldn't say to myself. But I think it becomes habitual and you don't even know you do it.
Mm-hmm. However, somebody that doesn't do it can walk up and stand next to you and completely tell that you do it. Like I've noticed.
Right.
Like if I'm standing next to someone who's really negative and they can't even see that they are, they're just like, oh yeah, this is normal. This is awesome. Like, this is a good day for me. I'm like, oh my, like, help. 5 is ditch.
Well, like, yes.
Go ahead.
Go ahead.
There's a
Well,
lag,
like,
so I can't hear, like, you start talking and it doesn't start talking right away.
Well, like yesterday when I poured my smoothie down the sink.
I laughed my head
like,
off.
I'm like, you're such an idiot. Like, why would there be a full smoothie in the living room if you didn't put it there? And
So
then I
backstory,
cried.
saw it and thought that the kids left it there, and then realized that was the one that she just made for herself after she poured it down the sink.
Bummer.
I was so mad.
So the number 5 is ditch the self-deprecating humor. And she's talking about our thoughts become our words become our beliefs become our actions, and our actions become our habits, and our habits become our realities. And that's kind of like, so if your favorite joke is that you couldn't get a date if you demanded one at gunpoint and you spend every Saturday night alone, perhaps you should come up with a new one-liner. 6 is let love in. So what I highlighted was the better our bodies feel, the happier and more productive we are. Like taking care of, and I did a Bible study that was talking about our bodies being the temple, like what treating your body as though the Holy Spirit lived inside of it, which it does. But what would you not eat?
Yep.
What would you do? What would you not, if you knew God was standing right there and you were saying it to God, what would you not say? What would you not eat? What would you do for exercise? Like, how would you take care of yourself differently if you treated it like that?
Well, and I say that to my kids all the time. I said, if you're talking to your friends, you need to think about that, just that. God standing next to you. Would he want you to say that? Would he be happy that you said that? And I think sometimes as adults, we forget that.
If you guys want to jump in, you need to jump in because I'm going to keep going, okay? 7s, don't compare yourself to other people. And what I highlighted, you are more than enough. Avoid comparison like the plague. Hear that? Avoid it like the plague, as though it was going to kill you. 8 is forgive yourself. And just talking about you've screwed up in the past, you're going to screw up again. Every human is born with the ability to make spectacular mistakes. You're not alone. But forgive yourself. It's not a special skill. Get over it. Dragging it around isn't going to help you. It's just going to make you feel worse about yourself and a sad you. So where she's talking about, get clear on this one. Guilt, shame, and self-criticism are some of the most destructive forces in your life, which is why forgiving yourself is so powerful. And then, like, pretty much where you quit doing it. And then 9 is love yourself. And that has been, honestly, like, I think one of the hardest things for me, but a lot of it is that I I wasn't able to forgive myself of things that I had done or was doing. I was just like, why do I keep doing this? Why aren't I awesome? Why aren't I being a rock star? Like, you go on and on and on. But when you let that go and you let the guilt go of it, you're just like, okay, cool. I just had an awesome month. Or, hey, I wore that and wow, that was horrible. I will never wear that again. Note to self. Next time I'm going to wear something that I feel good in instead of what somebody told me to wear, things like that. But
I think loving yourself is hard because in our culture, it's perceived as if you love yourself, then you're conceited, or you think you're better than everyone else. And so then I think it's easier for us to just not deal with that. But and I try to teach, like, I look at my children and how I'm trying to raise them and how much I don't want to screw them up. So I tell them this stuff all the time and then don't follow it myself.
What happens when we follow it? Like, I was thinking about that when I was talking with someone about their husband. Just like the words that we speak over them are life. And then the very next day, I was tempted to say something about mine. And I was like, no, I can't. Like, I don't like that. This is what's happening. I'm going to change it. Even in conversation to him, I'm be like, well, I appreciate that you do X, Y, Z. Guess what? Tomorrow was completely different, or yesterday was completely different. Like, they hear our words, but they watch us. And I'm catching myself when I'm showing you guys what to do. Why do you think I'm a brunette? You all had to go do something scary before we went to GTC. And everybody's like, oh my goodness, it's talking to this person, or it's this person. Yeah, those people didn't scare me. Having brown hair scared me. Because I was like, I've been red, I've been blonde, I've been whatever, I've been orange, I've been purple. Brown scared me. But you have to go do, like, whatever it is, go do it. If you're afraid of waxing your eyebrows, go get your eyebrows waxed so you know that it's not scary.
Or go pierce your nose.
Or go pierce your nose. Whatever it is, go do that. In a way that's not horrible for you, I guess. Like, in a way that's not you beating yourself up, or like if it's not bad for you. But we stop on that. But if we're telling our kids or people in our family, like, I can't tell my little brothers and sisters to go live all out and they watch me every day shying away from what I'm afraid of. Like, that's, my little sister's not going to do it. She's like, yeah, whatever, you're still doing what you did and you're still scared of it. I'm like, shut up. I know.
Don't do what I do what I say.
That's not how it works.
I know.
So chapter 7, where she's talking about, I know you are, but what am I? Do not waste your time, on page 64, do not waste your precious time giving one single crap about what anybody else thinks of you. And I was talking with somebody about this just in the last couple days. But that's kind of the same thing of me caring about what I look like now every day when I get dressed because of a comment somebody made. But I think it was something I was already self-conscious about. But now having somebody say it, now every morning I just remind myself, Grace, you're not them. Would they ever wear what you wear? Would they ever do what you do? Will they ever look like you? Never, ever. Like, it's okay. They can think it's too much, but will they ever? Are they me? No. If I laugh at a joke, it's too loud. If I train, I'm too intense. If whatever it is, I'm too much for them anyway. Why does it matter what they think about whether or not I coordinated brass with silver?
Are you just waiting?
Yeah.
It doesn't.
So if that's what it is for me, for somebody else, it's like, well, I've been in all these other businesses. What are they going to think about me now that I'm switching? Did you like the other businesses? No. Was something wrong with them? Was something wrong with the product? Was something like, what happened to you? Let it go. They're going to be excited. If people are just going to follow whatever you put the big focus on, that's what they're going to follow. Okay. The next thing would be, what are they going to think about if I'm not working a job and I'm leaving my kids home? Are they your kids? What are they going to think about if I'm not doing this and I'm not making the money, blah, 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 blah. Like, I care what this person thinks. I literally asked my mom, are you ever going to make my car payment? Well, probably not. Okay, then I don't care what car, or you shouldn't care what car I drive. Are you ever going to make my house payment? Well, probably not. Okay, then shush about my house. Like, it's not yours. You are driving the car you want and you're living in the house you want. That's yours. Let it be. But we don't stop there. And it's not in a sense to be like mean and harsh, but like, take back your own ground. It's like if somebody drew a line in the sand and they're like, okay, this side's yours, and this side is the enemy, right? If you're on this side, step across the line. Your enemy is all the way over here. It's like standing up almost to where you are up here. They have no business being there. Put them back on their side of the line. Like, this is all yours. This is your fight. Every day, this person down here gets to wake up, decide what clothes they want to wear, how they want to do their hair, what car they're driving, or if they're going to go buy a new one, what they're eating for lunch. You could be sitting right next to the same person, and you could choose to eat quinoa salad, and this person is choosing to eat macaroni and cheese. Do you have to eat macaroni and cheese if they put it on your plate? No. But they're doing it constantly. So it's kind of funny. We were laughing about getting a companion for my dog. Bob was like, we should buy a duck. We're laughing about this. And I'm like, that would be really funny if this little puppy comes marching along and here comes this little duck waddling behind. And my mom kind of looks at me, and we're telling the story laughing. My dad is not much of an animal person. He's dying laughing. And my mom's just sitting there with arms crossed, just like, oh my goodness, if you do this, like, I'm going to kill you. And she walked out of the room, and she wasn't even gone yet. And I smiled, and I just started laughing even harder. And I was like, well, sounds like we're buying a duck. And Dad just starts laughing because it's like, I'm not going to go buy a duck. But it's just like, that does. Sometimes people don't stop to think about, they don't have the right to tell you what you can and can't do. It's like their internal desire or need to tell you. But is it something that it's going to be life or death over? No.
Well, that's like the quote that she has on 66. You are responsible for what you say and do. You are not responsible for whether or not people freak out about it.
Yep, I highlighted that all the way around it.
Yep, and that the one on the opposite page. What other people think about you has nothing to do with you and everything to do with them.
Mm-hmm.
This is where she was talking about like getting caught up in people praising you and like constantly looking for praise. Where it was saying the trick is to not only deny the criticism, any power that it would have over you, but even more challenging is to not get caught up in the praise. There's nothing wrong with blushing and accepting a compliment, but if you find yourself always seeking outside approval that you're good enough or cool enough or talented enough or worthy enough, you're screwed, because it's basing your self-worth on what someone else thinks of you. So what happens if that other person leaves? Like if they disappear, what happens to you? Your self-worth completely drops. And on that, she's saying everything else is just other people's perception of reality, and that is none of your business. Jennifer Hess, I think you wanted to say something, and it started after.
Yeah, it's gone. It was just something. Oh, it was about other people, being on other people. You really have to. I think especially when the rubber meets the road in a lot of different situations, you have to keep in perspective that they're talking about themselves. When they have criticism, when they have shortness, when they have just blatant bitchiness, whatever it is, they're talking about themselves. They're trying to project it onto you, but it's their issue. Mm-hmm. And it really is their issue. If they want to ride your rear about it, then that's their choice. If you have to put on the brakes kind of fast, it's going to be their accident, not yours. And so just keeping it in that perspective.
Mm-hmm.
It's like my kids last night both said that we used to say it when we were kids. I'm rubber, you're glue. Whatever you say to me bounces off and sticks to you. And I was just like, oh my gosh. We used to say that all the time, but it's true. It needs to stick to them, especially if it is their stuff.
Mm-hmm.
That's a good saying for us making phone calls, just saying. Okay, so she's getting into on that. Then she goes through the things to go over to find out, or so you can truly not care what other people think. So number 1 is ask yourself why. Why are you about to say or do something? Is it that you want to like yourself? Is it that you want other people to like you? And she's just saying, pay attention to your motivations and be honest. Practice coming from a place of integrity, and you will always be victorious. Number 2 is always doing your best. There is no better way to feel insecure than knowing that you half-ass something or don't really believe in what you're doing. And I can tell you every single month that I get off my computer and I'm like, well, that was a crappy month. The reason it was crappy was because I did not play full out. If I played full out, like, numbers isn't what makes it crappy for me. It's how I feel when I close my computer. If I close my computer and I'm like, well, yeah, nope. It's because I'm recalling all the days or appointments that I wanted to book or that didn't book, or something that canceled and I never rescheduled, or I never filled it with something else. But it's all on me. It has nothing to do with where I ended number-wise. So when I get my paycheck, I'm not excited about my paycheck because I know the effort that could have gone into what my paycheck could have been. Do you know what I mean?
Yep.
So it's based on us. It's like, did I do my best? If the answer is no, that's why you have a shitty day, which leads to a shitty week, which leads to a shitty month. If it's, even for me now, it's like down to hours. Like yesterday, I didn't want to work. And instead I was like, okay, I'm going to get my paycheck and wish that I had taken advantage of every hour that I had open, not talking myself out of them. And like, okay, what did I do in that hour? So instead, doing something in that hour to fill it, like I'm filling it with income producing activity. And did everything work out? No. The lady said she has no interest whatsoever. Who cares? It's still a person that I had on my list that now I know she's not in the no column anymore. She's in the column. She's in the no column. So it's like, you just have to know. For me, now I just know I'm not ever going to talk to her. Like, she's not that quality right now. So 3 is trusting your intuition. Come back here. Taking the advice of your drunk before friend or drunk before noon neighbor across the street instead of doing what deep down you know is best. How is that going to help you? And yet we do it every freaking day. And to find a temporary role model, this one I liked because I'm going to be doing a lot of coaching with Deanna Herron, which is super, super awesome. Not only for me, but for all you guys. And one of her, like, if we think of Deanna Herron, we're just like, whatever, she's not afraid of anything. Like, she's one of the highest paid consultants in Arvon. She kicks serious butt. She's not afraid of anything. But talking to her, she's afraid of the same things that we're afraid of. She just doesn't stay there. The thought comes into her head and she chooses to get up and do something different. And that's why she is where she's at. And like, that's a lot of what she was talking to me about. It's just, okay, well, you can choose to be overwhelmed or you can take steps to break it down. So help your team break it down. Like, that was kind of cool. So instead of asking, what would I do? If you don't know what you would do, then start asking, what would my hero do? Who's my hero? What would my hero do in any situation? So now it's like, okay, throughout your day, you have 2 hours to work, or you can go take a nap and you're exhausted because you didn't work. But if you work, you're going to get energy. Ask yourself, what would Deanna Herron do? Would she go take a nap, or would she take, like, if you know you're qualifying for something, what would she do? And working that way, and it's changing what I'm filling my day with. It's kind of cool. And then 5 again is love yourself. Do you see a theme? Can I use, when somebody tells you something, ask yourself, is this true? Can I use the information to better myself and the lives of others? If the answer is yes, commit to making the necessary changes. If the answer is no, let it go. So then she goes on to just say, like, sometimes it's easier for other people to see what we can't see. So if they can help us connect to our true lives, or to our truths, and live happier, more authentic lives, then it's worth taking time to listen, but not if it's something that rip you apart. And like, if somebody's giving you insight or truth, that is different than them just opening up a can of you suck on yourself and like listening to everything that they're saying about it. She's saying, like, use outside opinions to your advantages rather than letting them rule your life. Anybody have anything they want to add?
Not me.
Mm-mm.
Okay, so on ending note, as soon as you hang up, go find the video that I posted to our nation page that's super short from Thomas Tidland. I think that's how you say his name. Tidlian. But it is really, really cool. And live that the way that he's talking about, live that way today and see what happens. Like, you'll have a fulfilled day. So I love you all. I'm sure we will talk until next week. Next week, you're going to be reading chapter 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12. Got it?
Got it.
All right.
Talk to you later. Bye.
Bye.
Here's the post if you wanted to watch it.